I interviewed one of the OG athletic trainers in Fort Wayne area, Joe Baer. Joe Baer is a good friend. We've known each other for quite a while. He started athletic training in 1990 in Fort Wayne and the surrounding area, covering a bunch of high schools. This is a great one, how he gets to tell how he started in athletic training and how he ended up in Fort Wayne, of all things, of all places. So stick around for this one. It's a really good one. Thanks. Our next episode here, I'm interviewing a good friend of mine, Joe Baer. Joe Baer is a legend here in Fort Wayne with sports medicine, athletic training, and all the different services that have been offered at many different schools. So thanks, number one, for doing this.
You bet. Wouldn't miss it.
Okay. Appreciate you very much. From years and years of running into you and working with you and other things like that. So how did you get started in athletic training?
Well, it goes back a little way, if you can imagine. Out of high school, I was actually a fairly high level swimmer. I was being recruited to a lot of different places and didn't really know what I wanted to do at that point. Kind of thought I wanted to do something in sports, but didn't really know. My dad was an athletic director. My mom was a school nurse. So that kind of took the combination there. And my sister had just taken she was pre-physical therapy, and she ended up being a physical therapist. And she was at Purdue, and she took some classes with Pinky Newell and some of that kind of stuff. And she said, maybe you ought to look into that. When I took my recruiting visits, I asked about athletic training, and that's kind of how I got started down that path.
So you did Purdue undergrad?
Yes.
Athletic training?
Athletic training.
Okay.
Swam there and did athletic training there.
Hey, if you come this far in the video, hit that like button and subscribe, please. It really helps the channel. Thank you.
Okay. Then I went to graduate school at the University of Arizona out in Tucson. And I worked with the football team. I worked with the track team. I worked a little bit with JV baseball, things like that out there. So that was a great experience for me out there too. Also, when I was at Purdue, did summer internship kind of stuff. It wasn't prevalent back then as much. But I had the opportunity to work with the Minnesota Vikings for 3 summers while I was at Purdue. So I got a lot of really good football experience. Still to this day, football is my love, if you will, of an athletic trainer. It's
one of the favorite things to cover.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Just the sheer number of athletes and the different types of things.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah, it does.
Keeps you busy.
Yeah.
My undergraduate degree, I student taught. I was a biology and health teacher. That's what I was when I graduated. When I was in undergrad, that was kind of what the NATA was gearing everyone toward. Was every high school eventually is going to have an athletic trainer. So you need to teach, and you can be an athletic trainer. So I also got my education degree, as most of us did back in the 70s.
And I was thinking that might be the case when you said mom was a school nurse and dad was an AD, and that might be perfect.
Yeah, it really was. And when I student taught at Lafayette Jeff, they did have a gentleman there that was kind of an athletic trainer, and he was kind of the first guy in a high school setting that I'd ever run into. Yeah.
Okay. So how'd you end up here in Fort Wayne, Indiana?
Okay, so I went to Arizona, and then from Arizona, my first job out of grad school, I worked at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I worked football there. I was the assistant football trainer, and I did all the rehab and stuff like that there. I was going to stay in college or be in the NFL. I wasn't sure what way I was going to go, and you never know how things happen. And looking back now, 35, 40 years, I think something that happened at Wisconsin kind of pushed me this direction. We had our head football coach, name was Dave McClain. And the Monday after spring football ended, my 3rd year there, we'd gone to a couple of bowl games, and we'd been a great experience. Dave he took better care of me than I ever deserved as an assistant athletic trainer, but he was a great guy. Anyway, he had a heart attack and passed away, of which I was involved in his care at that point too, and kind of subconsciously it kind of got to me a little bit. I never would have talked to. There was a fellowship in sports medicine orthopedics there, and the orthopedic surgeon that was going through that at that time asked me if I'd be interested in coming with him to Topeka, Kansas, to start a high school program with his practice in Topeka.
Okay.
One thing led to another, and we moved from Wisconsin to Topeka, Kansas, and we were there for 5 years. Had 2 children, started our family there, and then Dr. Rutledge from ONE, who ironically did a sports medicine fellowship at the University of Wisconsin the year before I got there. Paths cross, you never know.
Yep.
And he called me and asked if I'd be interested in coming out and talking to his group. And that was February of 1990.
Okay.
And then we moved here in July of 1990 and started Sport One,
which is
now Parkview Sports Medicine.
Now PSM.
Yes,
Parkview
PSM.
Sports
Yeah.
Medicine.
Yep.
And so you came here in 1990.
Yep.
Summer of 1990.
Mm-hmm.
Started Sport One.
Right.
Okay. With yourself and the doctors, or
yep. No, it was. We had a staff of one back then. I was the athletic training staff at that time for ONE. I did 11 high schools. We did it way different back then. We had
times have changed.
Oh, absolutely. It's so much better for the kids nowadays. But
yes.
I was speaking at the Albright Gimlick thing the other night, and I talked about how I did 11 high schools, and I was one trainer of one, and I looked up at Candace. I said, "How many athletic trainers do we have now?" She goes, 80. I go, 80? I got a microphone on the stage. I go, 80? And so that's changed significantly. You know, I would go 2 or 3 times a week to the schools. Yep. Visit with the coaches. You got anybody you want me to look at them, meet with parents, do that kind of stuff. Just serve as a resource.
Yes.
Because these coaches, you know, they don't know if it's a bad injury or something needs to be looked at or doesn't need to be looked at, and that kind of stuff like that. So we would go out during the school day and or after school to evaluate kids during practices or evaluate kids during the school day.
Yep.
That's a little harder to do nowadays. You don't just walk into schools like we used to be able to do. So that's a little bit different. But yeah, we did that for several years.
Okay. And so then when did it get to the point where there was game coverage and you could rely?
We did.
You knew
so,
that there was going to be an athletic trainer at this school covering the games.
Right. We tried and did the best we could. About a year, well, even my first year, Dave Kuhn, myself, Mike Yale, Shari would kind of just starting about back then too. And we would meet at the Bombay Bicycle Club over here on Clinton Street, and we would get the whole football schedule for the SAC first and the city schools, and then we kind of went out as we could. And we would cover both sidelines.
Right.
We would try to see if there'd be a physician that would cover that game or another game. We would try to have somebody at every game. We pretty much got the city covered, maybe even up to Allen County at that point. You had some doctors that have been doing games for people for 30 years.
Yeah,
you know,
family practice
docs and guys and gals that had kids that played on the teams and things like that. So we had a bunch of that kind of stuff that went on back then. But we got medical personnel there, and or ambulances or whatever like that. So we did that for a number of years. And then as we went, we grew too. Yes. I mean, you know, Dave's practice grew, and our practice grew. And you were in town at about that time. You know, we had the Wizards came to town. We had Dan Fox that we used it. You know, during his off season, he would work for us and then leave in February to go with baseball. Yep. So you just kind of meshed where you could. You just patched the holes wherever you can find them. Right. Yeah.
And then the schools, the universities started pumping out athletic trainers for high school coverage, and then you could start hiring people specifically for schools and cover those schools. And you know, whether it was one school or 2 schools, it was much better coverage. And but it was a growing practice.
Yes. I mean, what we were trying to do, we kind of called it athletic training consultation. We didn't even really call it coverage at that point because we were just consulting with these schools on, you know, what to do with these injuries. You know, heck, when I started, nobody really even had an ice machine. You know, so I was like, you need an ice machine. You know, I mean, just some things like that to provide general care. Yes. And a lot of schools didn't even have that. You know, kind of stuff. So we worked really hard on getting ice machines and just some things that they could use on site for athletic injuries and things. Yeah.
So, but it's amazing how it's grown. Like you said.
Oh my gosh.
Now Parkview Sports Medicine has 80 athletic trainers spread out over all kinds of different settings, whether that's high school or whether that's college, whether that's industrial or whether that's in clinical in the office as well.
And we have several of our staff that were on our staff that have moved into the clinic. You know, it's more of a 9 to 5 schedule for a lot of people, and that with a family, that's a nice thing for a lot of people to have.
Yeah, athletic training has always been one of those kind of careers where you got to either be on the athletic side of it and willing to put in the second shift hours,
Right.
the 3:30 to 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 hours, and if that meshes well with your family situation and your social situation, that's great. Or otherwise, you transition to some other type of, whether it's medical sales or clinical or some other type of practice.
How many PAs do you and I have on the sidelines with us now that were once athletic trainers with us?
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, lots of them, PAs and NPs and all of that.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, we're, if nothing else, we were a launching pad for a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yep. Athletic training has always been that stepping career. Where
for a lot of people, yes. For some of us, not. I mean, and my dad said this. He worked as an athletic director and a coach for 40 years, and he always said, he goes, I never worked a day in my life. You know, because he did that kind of stuff. Now we've had days where we feel we've worked. There's a lot of those, but also at the end of a 40 plus years that I've done this too, not very many days I was just like, I don't want to go in. You know, but I don't want to go in now.
It's definitely a career of passion and the choice for that you want to get into, and where you're serving, you know, the schools and the kids and the teams and the coaches and the families, and so there's enough reward sometimes just with that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, with being able to help out, seeing the injury happen, making that appointment, helping them out with the rehab, seeing them back on the field weeks, months later, you know, the joy and fulfillment of that.
It truly is. And you're probably like I am too. I can't go to a restaurant in Fort Wayne and not see some kid that I took care of back, you know, and I am terrible. So if I ever see any of you and I don't call you by name, that's fine, but I do remember you had an ankle sprain, or you had a knee scope or something. I can remember that, but I can't remember. And you played football or basketball or tennis.
We definitely remember some of our former athletes and consultations because of what type of injury it was, and the situation that was happening at that time. And
my wife says I'm an idiot savant of injuries. I can remember your injury, but I can't remember. You know, I remember what school you went to, what injury you had, especially when I was going to all those different schools all the time.
And then just covering the thousands of games and events and opportunities that you're on the sideline, and you know, you've done that for 40 plus years. I've done it for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And so it's
a great thing.
It adds up.
It's a great thing.
It is.
Yeah. It's a great thing. Yeah.
And I'm lucky, and I'm sure you feel the same way. We're lucky to have landed where we landed, and God has provided ample opportunity for employment, but also for fun and social and everything else that goes with it.
We seem to have some social time.
Yes.
Yeah. That's been some good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Any words of wisdom for those that might be thinking about going into athletic training?
Go in with your eyes open. There are several people you can talk to now that you and I didn't have the opportunity to talk to when we were younger. Mm-hmm. But you know, look at it from a lot of different angles too. I looked at it from college, high school, NFL, you know, all those different places, Arizona, Kansas, Wisconsin. You get to see a lot of different things and find what you like, because within athletic training, it's a large spectrum, like you were saying. And you might be a physical therapist, you might be a physician assistant, you might be an EMT kind of situation, you know, paramedics, all that kind of stuff. We all blend together to make the sports medicine blanket.
If you look hard enough, there's a setting that you could find where you could find your niche and find your spot and
very much
make a difference.
Very much so. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a blast. It's been a heck of a ride for 40 plus years, and like I said, I've made a lot of great friends through it. Seen a lot of good things through it. You know, and it's just a good time. Sorry, I'm a popular guy. So you can edit that out, right?
Yeah, definitely. But
it's my tennis coach from Leo.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't it be? We still practice.
I want to thank you very much.
You bet, buddy.
For the number one, for your years of service that you've put to the athletic training and high school settings and everything here in Fort Wayne. Getting to know so many people, so many coaches, still contacting you all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, it doesn't stop even when you retire, and you're retired now.
Yes, almost coming up a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks again. Appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Never a problem. And, anything for you, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks.
You bet. It's a tennis coach.
Yeah. So, but
I hope we didn't screw that up too bad.
No, we're good. We'll